Fox 2 presents Hancock and Kelley.
Good Sunday morning and welcome to Hancock and Kelley on Fox 2, where we take on the top issues of the week. On the right, John Hancock.
Good morning.
On the left, Michael Kelley.
Good morning.
I'm Andy Banker. On the agenda this morning, the verdict comes in the criminal trial of former President Trump. Guilty on all counts. What does it mean for the upcoming presidential race and the future of our country? The cost of the city of St. Louis's income tax soars as the city loses big in court. Could fake signatures doom petition drives in Missouri to put everything from abortion rights to sports betting on the ballot? And in our quote of the week, the Pope apologizes for using an Italian gay slur. Also, there's word St. Louis's aging school buildings may sink the school district. And the U.S. Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, reverses course on nuclear contamination from St. Louis's Coldwater Creek. We'll get to all things Donald Trump shortly, but we begin with a big loss in court for St. Louis's 1% income tax, which means a huge blow to city finances.
The amount of money involved, based on the city statements, it's about $150 million over 5 years, $25 million a year. That's a lot of money to take back to the taxpayers.
A state appeals court has affirmed a ruling against the city for refusing refunds of the city's 1% income tax during the COVID pandemic to people who worked for St. Louis city companies but were working from home outside of the city. So now the city of St. Louis will have to pay those refunds, which will amount to about 5% of general fund revenue. Things are likely to get worse with more lawsuits possibly on the way, Michael. This may impact raises for city employees in a city that's having trouble having enough police officers, picking up the garbage, filling the potholes.
It's not a surprise, and hopefully they've prepared for it. This is a huge loss for the city budget. And it's not like they can go raise income taxes or raise another tax. They've already maxed out the sales tax in the city of St. Louis. They're going to have to find some way to grow population and increase revenue. Furthermore, I think that's long-term as a sign that the earnings tax in the city of St. Louis is on notice, particularly in a state controlled by Republicans, obsessed with this stuff and obsessed with the city of St. Louis. I think the city's got bigger problems coming.
That's what I'm getting at. Is this the first straw? Is this income tax a house of cards? It's really about the collapse.
It could be. And, you know, the situation at present is you've got all this one-time money sitting there. You got the ARPA funds from the federal government. They got to spend them by the end of the year or they have to send them back. They can't spend them. Can't figure out what they want to do. They got the RAM settlement money, one-time money. They're going to have to spend that somewhere. Meanwhile, the long-term revenue projections for the city are decreasing. This is another gash on top of that. And at some point, revenues and expenditures aren't going to meet. And at some point, this city is going to go into financial catastrophe.
Right. With fewer people working and living in the city, paying that income tax, isn't it dangerous just to be dependent upon that anyway, regardless of court cases?
Well, and the city's in a spiral right now. Revenue's not coming in. You know, summertime, they say that some of the receipts are higher, but it's not come back since COVID. There's some long-term systemic problems here in the city of St. Louis, and I think John, I fear, is right. This ultimately could spell financial doom, much like we saw in Detroit. Guess what happens then? The state of Missouri comes in.
There is also alarming news about St. Louis City Public Schools. The new report finds half of the district's 68 school buildings should close or be replaced in the next 10 years. If not, the cost of keeping them all open will reach nearly $2 billion over the next 20 years. The report from the architectural firm Cordigan Clark & Associates also shows that after decades of population loss in the city, the average school has less than half of its capacity with students and staff. The buildings that are open are only half full. The district has plunged from more than 40,000 students to fewer than 17,000 in just the past 20 years. Something has to give, John Hancock.
Yeah, they're going to have to close some schools down.
And sell the buildings, right?
And get rid of the property, yeah. And you know, the rise of charter schools, and of course St. Louis has long been a highly private school, highly parochial school city. So you're just not going to ever get the number of students in those schools, even if those schools were functioning well, and they're not. So yes, they have no option. They've got to get rid of that property.
I think there's also a thought process in the city of St. Louis of holding on to the legacy of yesteryear. You said it right there. There were 40,000 kids there 20 years ago, and now we're down to 17,000. If the Catholic Church is getting rid of property, then it's likely that the schools probably need to shrink up. They've got to start to get rid of some of their overstock. And then long term, this really is about the infrastructure of the city of St. Louis. It's been neglected for so long, whether it be for schools or pipes or sewers. And this is what we're going to continue to see. This is a bad story in slow motion.
Hundreds of thousands of signatures have been gathered to allow Missouri voters to decide monumental issues, from restoring abortion rights to legalizing sports betting. But Missouri's Secretary of State says all of those signatures have to be verified first.
It's very common to have rejection rates anywhere from 40 to 50%, because you have people that are not voters. You have people that signed a fake name.
He says local election authorities have until the end of July to verify the signatures, so it's more likely these issues will be on the ballot for the presidential election in November and not for the primary ballot in August. John, do you suspect any widespread signature fraud, and what's the difference if it's on the ballot in August or November?
Well, these things that are being counted are all going to be in November. There's going to be error. You're going to write your wrong congressional district down. You're going to have your address is going to be illegible. I mean, it's not just fraud, but the fact that Ashcroft is having every signature looked at is unusual. Long ago, we had a random sample system to allow these counties to get through the petition signatures in a quick time manner. That's going to be delayed this year, and we'll see where it lands.
Michael?
Well, he said to you right there with those comments that he's going to break the norms. He's going to do it differently. Why? Ultimately, Jay Ashcroft doesn't want some of these things to get to the ballot. And so he's going to find out that, you didn't cross your T or dot your I, and find a way to remove it. There'll be a lot of legal pressure on him. I think that this is good. People who invest this much money in getting signatures to get to the ballot, usually 99% of the time make sure they have it lock, stock, and barrel before they take it down to the Secretary of State.
There's been a big win in Congress for victims of nuclear contamination in St. Louis. Republicans Josh Hawley in the Senate and Ann Wagner in the House, along with House Democrat Cori Bush, are on the same side in this fight now for compensation to victims of Coldwater Creek contamination. Acute illness, including various cancers, have been traced to exposure from runoff from World War II-era nuclear waste in the St. Louis area that ran right through that creek. House Speaker Mike Johnson had scrapped a version of the Radiation Exposure Compensation Act, or RECA, that would have left out victims in Missouri and St. Louis. Michael, the Senate has voted to expand RECA to include Missouri more than once, but every time it goes to the House, it goes nowhere. Ann Wagner, Cori Bush need to wield a little power. Do they have it?
She did. Ann Wagner did wield it with the Speaker and moved this along. Cori Bush is a Democrat. They could care less what she thinks. But Ann Wagner used her position, her influence, and worked hard for it. It's encouraging this great injustice, which has been done on the entire St. Louis region, the Coldwater Creek, Manhattan Project contamination, finally getting addressed in a bipartisan way. How awesome is that?
Is it finally going to happen? You think?
Probably, yeah. But this is a great.
What's the holdup with Republicans in the House?
Well, this is a great illustration about the difference in the Republican Party today versus before. The Republican Party was a conservative party. That means if you're going to spend $60 billion, you got to find a way to pay for it. Today, the Republican Party is a populist party. Spending, not so much. We're going to take care of these people. You see what Josh Hawley did in the Senate. He put together a coalition. He brought other states in and covered their people, increasing the cost of the thing. It goes to the House, and Johnson originally says, we're not going to spend this money without a pay for. Ann Wagner has gone to him. She's got him to change his mind. I think the money's going to go through.
I mean, they spend trillions of dollars every year.
Yeah, I mean,
50 to 60 billion.
at some point, though, we can't afford all this stuff.
Yeah, but this is from the Manhattan Project, and it's the federal government's responsibility. They're doing the right thing, finally.
Thank you both. Up next on Hancock and Kelley, former President Donald Trump, now a convicted felon. Will that actually help him become president again? Also, how should President Biden play this new Trump card?